Jake, we got some breaking news from the results of last week's game. Here it is.
And then boom, all of a sudden, I go from winning by a lot to losing a tight race. It's corrupt. Detroit is corrupt. I have a lot of friends in Detroit. They know it. But Detroit is totally corrupt. Look at this. Look at this.
Stop the count. Stop the count. Let's go. The Bears, they started this new tradition last year where they celebrate their wins the correct way.
Waddle and Sylvie, ESPN 1000, don't miss it.
I know what you mean.
It's like their own Philly.
Okay. Okay, I think what it is.
We shouldn't be showing this. Am I crazy?
What a great sign that is. What have I told you? 17 minutes of rain would wash away 108 years of drought.
Do you see this team growing into the team that you were in 2005?
Great claps, everybody. There you go.
You are ridiculous.
Let's go indeed. Let's go indeed. Welcome back. We're back better than ever. This is Braggs in the Stands. I am your host, Greg Braggs Jr., and this is my co-host, producer, and graphic design extraordinaire, Jacob Hovanek. How are we doing, ladies and gentlemen? We are back for Bears-Texans Week 14. And we have a special show here tonight because for the first time ever here on Braggs in the Stands, we are bringing on a player from the active roster. You know, we've seen guys come here on the show, Tom Waddle, a former Chicago Bear, but tonight through all my harassment of the Bears at training camp, it finally paid off. And there's Charles Leno will be joining us here in just a little bit coming up here on Brags in the Stands. And we're excited about that because, that is going to help us get a little bit of an inside look of what's going on here with the Chicago Bears. Because as we all know, it has been a slide here in the last 2 months. We went from 5-1, and now the team hasn't won since. And it for any Bears fan, that is troubling. We all want to see the Bears do well. And now all of a sudden we've reached a point in our fanhood where you've got a lot of Bears fans hoping the Bears lose, rooting for the Bears to lose. I saw Sylvie put out a poll earlier in the week where he asked, who are you rooting for this Sunday, the Bears or the Texans? And he was asking specifically Bears fans, and it was like 70% are rooting for the Texans. I mean, that is not where we want to be as Bears fans, and that's unfortunate. So we're excited here in a little bit to bring on Charles Leno because, it has been a tough season, so we appreciate, him carving out some time. He's been on the injury report. He's fighting this COVID craziness that the team is going through. So for him to be able to carve out a little bit of time and talk to us here on this little old podcast, we certainly appreciate. So we definitely want to preface everybody that's showing up here tonight. Keep it respectful, keep it classy. That's what we do here at Brags in the Stands. But we're certainly, always, going to have a critical eye to the team. So nothing wrong with wanting better for everybody here. So, not trying to stifle anybody's opinions. All opinions are welcome as long as there are no personal attacks. So, that being said, Jake, we're having fun here at Brags in the Stands. We got a big guest here coming up, but a big game for the Chicago Bears here on Sunday. It's make or break. They basically have to win out for any hopes of any kind of a playoff scenario playing in their favor. They lose again.
10 games is no longer realistic for this team.
Exactly right. So, and most fans are already looking to the offseason and looking for a new GM, looking for a new head coach, even looking for a new president of football operations if George McCaskey was willing to do that. But, where is your mindset here going in to this Sunday against the Texans with Deshaun Watson coming to Chicago? Last year we saw Patrick Mahomes come to Chicago, and now this year we get to see Deshaun Watson, and everyone knows the storyline behind the Bears picking, Mitchell Trubisky over, those quarterbacks, and now we kind of get to see them, play it on our own turf for the other team. What are your thoughts there?
Well, I understand people wanting the Bears to lose. I'm almost of the same vein. I think I'm almost there, and I don't think I necessarily would be there if they had a quarterback. That's the thing. If when the Bears weren't so hot in Fox's last year, but Mitch was in and he was playing, you wanted to see him develop and do well and play well, and the team to start making strides with him under center. And the Bears don't have that right now. If the Bears had somebody in the wings that they were looking to develop, these games would mean a lot more. But right now you have two quarterbacks that are running this team that aren't even necessarily, well, Foles might be here next year, but Mitch certainly won't be. So right. It's definitely an interesting thing. I mean, there are some really interesting quarterbacks. There are a lot of teams that are quarterback hungry or needy, I should say, who are going to be picking in the top 10. And the Bears are one of those teams, again, of course. So I understand anyone who is of that mind because I'm basically there myself. That being said, this week, I do feel like the Bears are going to put up a good fight this weekend. And the Titans are shorthanded. There's a lot of weapons that aren't at Deshaun's disposal. I know David Johnson has COVID. Obviously, Fuller's out with his suspension. Kiki's got a little injury.
Will Fuller was really starting to ascend.
Yeah, he was really playing well.
He was all of a sudden turning into, in a fantasy perspective, a wide receiver one type of player, out of the University of Notre Dame, but it, and then the PEDs happened. So, you wonder how much of those, without David Johnson and without those players, how much, will the Bears be able to stifle them? Are we going to see more of what we've seen the last 2 weeks where it's kind of been, free reign up and down the field? I mean, Matt Stafford had like 500 yards passing at one point, with the game on the line. They're on the 4-yard line and they zip down the field in like 5 plays. And if you've been watching Deshaun Watson here lately, He's playing his
Playing
best bull
really well.
football of his career, of course, and they're 4-8, so that can be deceiving if you look at their record. But he's been throwing dime balls, in clutch moments, and he is going to be geared up for this game. I mean,
Yeah.
you saw Patrick Mahomes count to 10 on his fingers last year when he beat the Bears in Soldier Field on Sunday Night Football, and you wonder if Deshaun Watson's going to be doing the same kind of count routine.
He said he didn't have much motivation for it. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I mean, I could see him doing it. He's in his right to do it. And and speaking on Deshaun and how well he's playing in a team that's really depleted. Very similar, a lot of similarities between kind of the Bears and the Texans in terms of what they have to offer. Granted, we have Allen Robinson, but in spite of all that, he's still having a really, really good season. And that's what good quarterbacks do. They make that team better, make the team around them better from their play. So he's playing really well. I'm excited to see the game, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
I'll save my picks for later.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting. And again, we're really excited for Charles Leno, left tackle of the Chicago Bears, to be joining us here in just a few moments. And, we're going to dig into a lot of stuff with Charles. He's got a charity that he's been starting up, this nice charity called, Leno Claus. And we're going to dive into a lot of stuff from Bears and all things related. So excited to do that. And it's interesting because, like I said, the biggest issues for me, I've always wondered it, feel like they're up front. Everyone always says the game is won and lost in the trenches. And obviously, you can talk about the quarterback all day long, but as you saw last week, you had David Montgomery having a great game. That's what, running the football is the other half of the game on offense. And while your quarterback does have influence on the running game, calling the plays and making the checks at the line of scrimmage, the offensive line is, really what controls both the running and the passing game. So it'll be interesting to hear what Charles has to say, as far as, how they can get this right. It'll be interesting. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a long road to win out for this team, especially the way they've played. And I know that's the mentality of the players. It doesn't matter what we as fans want them to do. What they're trying to do is win games every week. And that being said, without further ado, joining us now from Boise State University, number 72, from the Chicago Bears. There he is at Bourbonnais, when we used to be able to go to Bourbonnais and have fun. Our guy, Charles Leno, joins the show. How we doing tonight, Charles? We appreciate you joining the show.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? I'm doing well.
Hanging in there, man.
Hey, man. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on, man. And that's what when I was doing my research for you for coming on tonight, I've been stressing out, making sure I cross all my T's and dot all my I's, coming from Boise State University. That's one of my bucket list things, Charles. What was it like playing at Boise State on that blue turf? That's for me one of those things as a sports fan. That's one of the things I have to see before I die.
Yeah, it was cool, man. We were the only show in town in the state, really. I mean, you got the Idaho Vandals, but nobody want to watch them. But you know what I'm saying? It was really cool. I mean, like it was always a packed house. We always had, thousands of fans every week. And, we were the NFL team, the big NFL team in Idaho. That's what it felt like. And I made some really good people out there. It was just and it's a very, very, how do I describe it? Outdoorsy type feeling when you're out there too.
Sure. And the blue turf, what was that like playing? And, from optics wise on TV, it's like such a crazy visual for you. Does it change the game in any way, or is it just, same balls,
No, it doesn't change the game, but it did. I did see a couple of ducks crashing on the blue. They thought it was water,
Oh, man.
I seen it.
That is crazy. I would have, that makes sense though. That is crazy. Ducks flying, you never thought you'd have to be worried about that on a football field. So,
right.
Going off the football field for a minute, I did want to bring you on and talk about, your charity that you and Jen have started this year, this little, program called Leno Claus. Why don't you tell the listeners and the viewers a little bit about what you're trying to do here? And do you feel like that is, kind of your responsibility to give back to the people in the city of Chicago?
Yeah, so I'm sorry for talking about Leno Claus. Leno Claus is something me and my wife came up with. Basically, for the first 20 days of December, we will be like spotlighting, highlighting different organizations that we chose. My wife, she just got her bachelor's or master, excuse me, in nonprofit management. So she's used to this, and she selected all these different organizations to pick from, and we sat down and went through some dealing with the homeless, some dealing with people who suffer from domestic violence, kids with autism, just a lot of different programs. And what we're trying to do is just spotlight those organizations, spread light on those organizations, let people know that there is help out there if you need it. You're not alone. Also remember that, you just ask for help. And if I can use my platform to show that for those other people out there that need it, that would be greatly appreciated. And, we're just trying to give back. And yeah, at the end of the day, like, it is my responsibility to do that, because I remember, being one of those kids that needed help. And, what other, I would call it, what other public figure would you want it from than your, fellow, left tackle on the Chicago Bears, man?
Yeah, that's right.
Me being back in California, being an Oakland Raiders fan, that would be, somebody like Tim Brown or Jerry Rice when he was playing with the Raiders and things like that.
Yeah,
100%. And and I learned, myself, I kind of shadowed, Kaplan over the fall. We walked 29 miles for Bernie's Book Bank and raised almost, he raised almost $100,000, for underprivileged kids in the, Chicagoland area, for like Wi-Fi and things like that. And I kind of learned, what, just a little movement can turn into, a bigger thing. So I know, this starts out this year, and next year it can grow into even something bigger. So, I know that everybody in Chicago appreciates your hard work. Cause like you said, I've had all these different graphics, all these that you've been sharing on your social media of all these different foundations that people can find on Twitter. And it's so many different organizations, and that'll lead up all the way to Christmas, correct?
Yeah, so it'll lead up to the 20th with the organizations in the last 5 days. So the 20th through Christmas, we'll be working with different families. So we're going to adopt families, and we already got. We've been going through that. We had a ton of people, submit that. We actually had people submit, who they feel like is deserving. So yeah, we went through those, and we'll be deciding coming shortly. Very shortly on who we'll be selecting, and that's going to be awesome because. I try to do it with the Bears, do it through the Bears also. But it's different when you see those, those heartfelt stories. Me and Jen reading them off to each other, at night. It literally, brings you to tears. Some of these stories that some of these families are dealing with.
Well, that's great, man. Keep up the great work. Truly, man. That's something you can be truly proud of right there. And, for me, like I said, you got the Leno Claus shirts, and I was joking with Jenny, Nagy used to run a play called Santa's Sleigh. So maybe that's, you're Leno Claus now. So maybe you're next in line to be, because it was an offensive lineman who caught the touchdown.
I think Bradley Swoop.
Hey, you never know. So that's what I'm, going back to on the football field, Charles, you were drafted in 2014, 191st overall, 7th round pick. Did you ever dream that you'd become an everyday left tackle for the charter franchise in the National Football League when you were growing up? Did you ever believe that was going to be where you ended?
I got to go back. Hold on. You said I was drafted when?
191st overall.
That's so wrong. That's wrong.
It's wrong?
That's so wrong. I know that. I know my number by heart.
Okay. What was it? Because
246.
246.
Gregory, come on now.
Wikipedia has failed me. I always knew you were a 7th round pick, but I wanted to get
7th round.
Of course, I wanted to get the number
to make it seem better. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's long. No, I am a 7th round pick for your fans out there. Yeah, I did work.
Just trying to, get you a little lower for you, my man.
No. It's all good. It's all good. I was drafted where I was drafted. It's cool. I'm cool with it. But I use that as motivation, as a chip on my shoulder. So, I don't even know the question. I was so caught up on.
Did you ever dream that this is where it would end when you started playing growing up in high school? Did you ever believe that this would be your end game?
Oh man, nah. I mean, keep be honest with you. I started playing football my, sophomore year, and I wasn't even playing on my high school team. I was just, the backup. I actually started playing my junior year, but that was not on my mind. I thought I was going to be a basketball player, honestly.
Really?
And yeah, I thought I was going to be, who was my guy back then? Tracy McGrady was my dog, man.
Oh, man.
T-Mac was a beast, man. Until that back started happening, man. He would. I don't care what anybody say. He was one of the greatest, man.
And the Bulls tried like hell to get him to come to Chicago. They had everybody come to the airport the year he was a free agent. They even had Benny the Bull come up when he came off the plane, and he ended up going to Houston. He didn't choose us. That killed us. That knifed us in the heart.
But yeah, I want to be a hooper, but I tried out football, and it's something that stuck. And then after, playing in my sophomore year, I was like, all right, this is something I probably can, do some good things with. So I just kept working out, kept, just basically growing with the sport, learning more. You got to have a great scenario. I had a really good coach, not a good coach, a great coach in high school, Brad Bowers at St. Andrew High. Awesome dude. He helped me out, helped me learn the game. And then from there, going to college, also, I was in another great circumstance with coaching there. Chris Peterson, Chris Strasser, my head coach and my O-line coach. And it was something that I did not expect to be here in this situation, but it was just something I'm always like, I try to keep my mind like focused on what I need to focus on, what's important now. I like to use that saying. It's called win, what's important now. And what's important now is whatever task you're doing, focus on that. And then what my coach always just talk about, be here now. So wherever you are, focus on that task. So I just made sure if I was, whether I'm in practice, whether I'm in school, wherever I'm doing, I'm focused on that task. And it kind of led me here. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, damn, I forgot I was the 246th pick. And now I'm here, so I'm just still focused on my job and trying to figure out how I can get better and improve day to day. Cause that's how you stay in the league. Cause definitely I learned this a long time ago from some wily vets back in the day. It's not about making it to the league. It's about staying in the league.
100%. And, you're right. It is about what's important now. I talk about the days, one of my favorite years as a Bears fan, the 2018 Bears. And there you are running off after you guys were crowned division champs and you had just proposed to your wife, Jen. And it was a beautiful moment. And for me, it's been so frustrating here these last couple of years as a fan, because I thought we were going to the mountaintop, Space Mountain, as Reuben Brown once called it, with the 2006 team. And so I want to know from you, Charles, are you surprised that you guys haven't been able to get that momentum back that you guys had, all that chemistry and magic that the 2018 team had? Are you surprised that you guys haven't been able to get back to that level?
Yeah, it's definitely frustrating, definitely frustrating. But at the end of the day, that's behind us now. 2018 is 2 years ago, 19
right.
Last year. We got to focus on the present, man. And if I go back to last week, a situation where we felt like we had the game and we let it go by not finishing, it hurts even more thinking about the opportunities that you had, to win games. But the thing that I talk about, you got to focus on the now. I know Houston just went through it last week by fumbling on the 5-yard line. Had a chance to win the game there, so they feeling the same way. I know it's going to be a dogfight going into this game, so I'm focused on this game right now. Yes, it sucks all the stuff that happened in the past, but that's why it's the past. You got to worry about the present. That's why it's the present, because it's a gift, man. Tomorrow's not promised. You got to focus on now.
Sure.
Exactly right. And it is about what's important now. And that's why for me, it has been because I was waiting for this to, for you guys to get back and finish the job. That's what I root for as a fan.
Right.
I want to know, you're right. Like you talk about, having to overcome things. I'm watching the left tackle for the Patriots last night, having a tough time with Brockers from the Rams, and they're beating them up a little bit on the telecast. And I want to know from you as a left tackle that, can get that same criticism from it. You're always going up against the best player each and every week. So it's easy, for you to stand out when a big mistake happens. And then, for me on Bears Twitter, you're going to have a lot of fans, that are very critical of all players. Do you think that the criticisms that some fans have is fair, or is there a bigger picture that maybe we don't see as fans, in that regard?
I definitely think it's a bigger picture that some fans don't see. I mean, of course, like when some players stand out, like, yeah, I mean, it happens. But the one thing I always like to say, and I think people forget, is just because your team, doesn't mean the other opposing team doesn't get paid too. I think that's the difference between fans. They think, oh, you're supposed to be perfect at all times, no matter what. But those guys on the other side of the ball get paid too. So that's the whole thing. That's why we're all competing, and we're all competing at a high level. But then also, like, at the end of the day, everybody has a voice now because they have a phone, and they can create fake accounts and whatever accounts they want to make.
Right.
But at the end of the day, those guys are not the ones, out there coaching me, not the ones, basically, they're not my bosses, man. They're just fans. And I love them. I love Bears fans, man. Love them to death. These fans rode with me since, the beginning of the time, and grew with me over the years. I don't know how passionate they are. I know how passionate, Bears fans are. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
I don't take any offense to it. I mean, you're just expressing how you feel, because at the end of the day, everybody's frustrated right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? If these plays happen and you're winning games, is everybody tripping? No. Everybody's moving on.
Exactly right. Nobody was saying a word. Exactly right. And fans are emotional. Some fans are more critical than others on social media. I'm the fanboy, right? Everybody knows me as Greggy Pom Poms. I come to training camp and get you in a video, pictured in your best light, and tweet it out. And so fans are. I got some of my friends going, Greg, you better not be going soft on Charles tonight. You better hit him with the tough questions, because nobody thinks I can be tough. But I'm just trying to. We all want what's best. I'd be lying if I'm not swearing at my TV half the time when things aren't going the way I want to go. But you're right. The other team gets paid too. And I know you're going up against the best player on the other side each and every week. But the other question I wanted to have is, what is more difficult for you, or in general for any offensive lineman, run blocking or pass blocking? Which one would you say?
I mean, it's not which one's more difficult. The question is, which one would you rather do? Of course, offensive linemen would rather run the ball. When you get to run the ball, a lot of things happen. A lot of things open up in the passing game. When you have to drop back pass over and over again, that's get difficult, because, like I mentioned literally before, those guys get paid too. And when you have to do that over and over again, and you're doing it, and I can think of a few games where you have to do it in, like, when you're in catch-up mode. That's when a lot of things can happen. You know what I mean? But when it's in the flow of the game, usually you see offenses in rhythm, and it looks like it's good protection, because you can play action, you can run, you can naked, you can boot, you can do all these different things. But when you're in that drop back mode and you just having to scramble every time, and get up on the line, and it's go, that's when that's the situation you don't want to be.
See, and that's what I would want to know as a fan, because I don't know anything about football. I never played a down of organized football in my life. I tried out for the 7th grade team, and I got ran over in the Oklahoma drill, and I went running right back to the basketball court, and I didn't make it there either, Charles. But that's what I want to know, is just looking at the team, aside from which quarterback should be in there, to me, what do you have a preference between RPO shotgun style or being under center and doing those rollouts and attacking at the line of scrimmage in that way? To me, the team looked more palatable, the latter, with trying to stay at the line of scrimmage and the quarterback under center. Again, I don't know anything as a fan, but then when it gets into RPO, all of a sudden I feel like you lose that leverage of attack. It's like it doesn't feel as aggressive. What would you say to that as my best way of trying to spit that out as a fan?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go back first to mention about how when you got the Oklahoma drill and you ran off the field, like
it was ugly, Charles.
Let's just put this in context real quick for the fans. You did that in when? High school? What was that? Grade?
Seventh
Seventh
grade.
grade.
Seventh grade? Okay.
Yeah.
How many of those fans are tweeting at us on the football field that did the same exact thing that you just did?
Oh yeah.
How many of those
100%.
fans are still on the Twitter like, yeah, I can't believe you acted. You're so weak. You're this. You're
Yeah.
that. But you were the one that ran off the field.
Oh, Charles, I'm laying on.
You're the one that ran off the
I
field.
wanted to be a wide receiver, and
Yeah.
they're like, because that's when we play pickup ball. I'm faster than everybody, so that's what I thought they were going to just put me in pads, and I was going to be a Hall of Fame wide receiver, and that'd be the end of the story. Well, I never played, so they're like, no, you're third string DB. Here's your helmet. Go back here. And I'm so nervous running out on the practice field. My shells and my helmet barely fit me. I can barely see anything. And they're like, all right, we're going to do this drill. And everybody's getting all riled up. And they're like laying on the ground, and like 3 people went ahead of me. And then all of a sudden I start getting nervous.
Exactly.
And, they're like, all right, your turn. So I lay down. The guy's got his head to me laid down, and I don't hear the whistle. All I hear is everyone yelling because that's all I'm looking at. And they're like, go, the whistle blew. And I get up, and the guy just trucks me. And I was like, get me out of here. I'm going back to the basketball court.
Right. And I just want that to be known. Like, that's a perfect example of what I think of when I see people tweeting me. Like, you can't do this. Like, you really can't do this.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
You do your job, I'll do mine. But
I heard.
And then I was taking forward. Man,
As far as RPO versus line of scrimmage football.
You know what? I don't know. It's something about having your hand in the dirt for offensive lineman. You know what I mean? Just having your hand in the dirt, being able to tee off on somebody in front of you, running the football. You can just. I mean, it all depends on. Who's calling the plays, really. I mean, like, because at the end of the day, you got to be multiple in this league. Some games you're going to have to pass it a lot to win the game. Some games you have to run it a lot. But if I had to prefer, I'd rather put my hand down on the ground, come off the ball and run some people. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's what I love to do. That's what I like to do the most. But like I said, it really all depends, man, like off of what team you're playing against. Because some games every single game is different. Every matchup is going to be different every single week.
Sure. Well, again, we appreciate your time, and I've been firing away here at you, Charles. And this is my co-host, Jake. Me and him have been,
grew up
together, and I'm finally going to let him in here because I know he's got a few good ones here, and I'm going to stop talking for 5 minutes.
Charles, thank you again, man, for coming. I would just say, your Bears are starting out. You're 5-1. You're feeling good. And you have an expanded playoffs this year, so it's looking like the Bears are gonna, are shoo-ins to make the playoffs. And then 6 straight games, we've lost 6 straight games. People, Matt Nagy's starting to get questioned. How everything's going. The defense is usually rock solid. That the past couple games, it's got a little more leaky than we're used to seeing. How do you guys, what is the mentality in the locker room right now? Because you have lost 6 straight games. How do you guys stay up? Because there's still a shot here that you can make the playoffs in this expanded season. What is the locker room like right now? How are guys responding? And how is Matt Nagy keeping that group together?
You just said it. We still have a shot, right?
Right.
We get this W, we go from there. We're trying to start 1-0 right now, man. It's a completely different season. We are focused on these 4. It's a 4-game season for us right now, and we have to get game number 1. That's it. We can't focus on nothing else. We can't focus on anything in the past. We can't focus on anything in the future because we can't control that. But we can focus on and control what we do out there on Sunday. It's about starting off 1-0 in this last quarter of the season. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, we got to shut off that.
Yeah, like you said, stay in the moment. Like you said, that's kind of your mantra, and then that's all you guys can really do is you got a game in front of you. Let's go out and win it. So that how was we've switched hands now at offensive coordinator. Bill Lazor is now calling the plays. What's the difference like for you guys having a switch in play calling in the middle of the season?
No different for me. The play still sound the same when I hear it from the quarterback. Honestly. I mean, it's the same exact plays. It's not like we flipped the whole playbook. It's just same exact play. So nothing's really changed. I just feel like the last week for offensively, we were just doing things that I would say we were doing things that we decided we started off the season doing, and that's something that we got back to. I feel like, and it's just been working for us over this last week. Clearly, the outcome didn't happen how we wanted it to, but yeah, I think that was big when you can see that life happening in the offense. You know what I mean? That rhythm. That's what you want to see. You know what I mean? As fans too. That's what I want to see as a player. You know what I mean? I want to see a rhythm, and I also want to see some going, us moving the ball, us getting downfield, and putting points on the board to help our defense out.
Absolutely.
How about Sam Mustipher? A lot of people that know more about football than me have been saying he's been doing really well these last few weeks. How do you feel Sam Mustipher's been, gelling with the unit?
Doing really well. One thing I know about Sam, he's a very smart guy. And let's talk about the line in general. You got Sam, who's a very smart guy. Alex Barr is next to him, who's a smart guy. And then Cody Whitehair, who was our center before, who's also a very smart guy. I think when you got that kind of lineup out there, those three guys, they can see a lot of things out there on the football field that helps our offensive line pick up things. You know what I mean? So, I think that helps a lot for offensive line play. If you're smart and tough, that take you a long way for being an offensive lineman.
Definitely. And how has the shifting in the O-line kind of affected things for you guys too? Because we've had some injuries on the line. We had some moving parts here and there, guys subbing in, subbing out. What does that do for you as a left tackle when the guy next to you happens to be changing here and there for all kind of different reasons?
Well, my job has to, I look at it like this. My job has to, elevate or be the same. I can't have no dip in my game. Especially if I have a guy, I feel like who's new, who's not really comfortable in the role. I got to elevate my game. I got to bring that player up, with me. For somebody that, has some experience, like me and Cody working well together, me and Cody been working together for years now. So I know what he's going to bring. He knows what I'm going to bring. Let's just get it rocking and rolling together. But one of the biggest things with the biggest shift in the offensive line is tough. I mean, let's just be real. You think about it. You go through all camp, healthy, not dealing with really injuries or anything like that, working with a certain unit, and then one person goes down. Okay, that's easy to fill, but then you get 2-3 people going down. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's very tough on the offensive line. That's just it is what it is. You know what I mean? I'm not out here trying to be making excuses or anything like that. I'm just stating the facts. It is tough. But you got to roll. You know what I mean? It's a next man up mentality in this league. Seriously, like that is no joke. That's why you got to have coaches prepare the players to get ready, and those players got to be mentally ready to get out there and perform.
And how do you think Juan Castillo has done in his role in his first year here as O-line coach? What do you think he's brought to the table?
I think he's been doing the best he possibly can with the hand he was dealt. Like I said, we started off with what we had. He felt like he had this lineup that we were rolling the season with, and then something's happened. He has to make adjustments. He has to figure out what best five work together. Sometimes, some people just don't work well together. I mean, offensive linemen, you got to be a cohesive unit. If you got one person, going off this way, one person going off that way, that makes the whole offensive line look bad. So you just got to find the right guys that work well together, and I feel like he got that.
Yeah, and when James Daniels went down, that was really tough because he was really starting to, ascend this year early on. At least it looked like from, as I said, people that know football better than me. We had a question from the chat because you mentioned, when you had different new guys on your side, you're trying to tell them what's going on. So do you consider yourself a leader in that offensive line group? And who would you consider the leaders of your offense?
Yeah, I'm definitely one of the leaders in the offensive line group. I'll say me and Cody definitely had like some of the longest tenure on the offense and offensive line. And on the offense, I mean, you got Allen Robinson, you got Jimmy Graham, even though he just got here, just being a vet presence. David Montgomery is definitely stepping up, being a vocal leader, just one of those guys who's always, having good energy. Let's talk about energy. A guy that we definitely miss on offense is Tariq. Let's not forget about that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tariq, man. Energy guy, brings guys together. I'm talking about one of the glue guys for our offense that we definitely missed this year. So we got some good leaders on the offense,
100%. 100%. And, that does lead me into some of the other questions, and I don't want to take up too much of your time. So you can tell me to shut up whenever you're ready, Charles. But, you mentioned it wouldn't be the first time somebody's telling me shut up. So I'm used to it. So David Montgomery, you mentioned David Montgomery, and he had a great game last week, and it just seems like a guy that is so tough to bring down. Where is his ceiling in this league? Can he be one of the top 5 running backs in this league?
Give him the ball. Let him.
Oh my God, I've been screaming it all year.
We'll see. You know what I'm saying? Feed that man. We'll see where he'll be up. I'm not gonna say he could be one of the top 5. I'm not gonna do none of that. Get that man the ball. You see how he runs, and his play will decide. And you know what I mean? That's how I look at it for David. Absolutely. I think he would say the same thing.
Man. So, and then, some of the other guys that have been a bright spot in the offense, Darnell Mooney this year, and, Cole Kmet really hasn't had too many opportunities, but the few, flashes
to get his stamps up.
It seems like he's got some talent to him. What would you say about those 2 rookies and their, career going forward?
Man, Darnell Mooney, that dude's fast, man. First time I remember seeing him on the practice field, like, you see one of those dudes just run a route and you just like look around. I'm looking at Bobby like, that dude can run. Like, yeah, it's the first thing you see about him. But, speed in this league is everything. Look at guys like Tyreek Hill. They open up so much for your offense. They're stretching the field and you can get intermediate routes in between, things like that. And then Cole, talk about like a Swiss Army knife. Dude can do it all. Run blocking, pass blocking, and catching out of the from the tight end position. So he's been showing some really good things for us.
So, Mitchell Trubisky, it seems like, has had all these different things, through his career path, getting to this point. Now he's back as the starter. And the last couple of weeks have been, the offense has moved the ball. Where do you think Mitchell Trubisky's career is going to keep going here? Everybody's waiting for the light to turn on, so to speak. He works really hard. Everyone has his respect in the locker room from what I've seen. I know me as a fan, I've always loved how hard he works and, the attitude he carries. That's important to me when you're the quarterback on this team. Do you think that light, so to speak, is going to turn on and he's going to become the quarterback that a lot of fans have been pressing him to become, or am I overstating it? Is he, better than what fans give him credit for?
Well, let's just get this out the way. He's just being compared to others in his class, right? Let's get the narrative out there. That's just what it is, right? Like, let's separate that and look at him for who he is. He came into a situation where he was he got drafted here, and he came to one coaching staff, got another complete change, and then he had another person come in to compete for his job. There's 3 different scenarios I'm thinking about right then and there. That's tough. Let's just be real. That's just tough being in position.
Right.
So he just has to focus on him.
What's important now?
Let's just keep it as real as that. Focus on your job. Focus on what you got to do, and things will take care of itself. Have somebody believe in him and instill some confidence in him. I think Mitch can be a very good quarterback. That's my opinion because I know who he is and I see the work that he puts in.
Yeah, because I kind of dubbed the phrase, it's not all on Mitch. I would yell that, last year, because when you're sitting in the nosebleeds, the fans, the people to blame, first is the quarterback, second is the left tackle. When you're in the stands, that's who they're yelling about. And the quarterback, first and foremost, every time. When a play breaks down, no matter how it broke down, it's always right at the quarterback. But I've always tried to say, hey, it's not all on the guy. And it's like I always joke with Jake, it's become like Murphy's Law with this team. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. It's like each person has a mistake happen at the worst possible time. That's how I see things unfolding, but hopefully, you guys can get the momentum turned in the right direction, because I do believe football is a game of momentum, so we have had a few questions in the chat as far as the game on Sunday. What is it like preparing for a guy like JJ Watt? When you're in the film room, what are you seeing and thinking about throughout the week?
First thing that pops up for me is effort. You just click on the tape. you see the effort that he plays with. He's one of those guys that doesn't stop. He's always trying to find his way to the ball, and that's why he's known for who he is. That nonstop effort, that nonstop, relentlessness to pursue the ball. That's the number one thing I get from him. And other than that, like, let's just look at his track record. I mean, I don't know how many defensive MVPs he won and Pro Bowls and All Pros, but he has a lot. You know what I mean? When you say his name, it holds a lot of weight. Yeah. But then also you got the things that he does in the community too. You know what I mean? He's just a very, very good dude in the community. So I appreciate him on the field. I mean, on the off field for those things that he does.
Yeah, David Kaplan from ESPN 1000, my buddy, he was trying to send him because he had mentioned Lou Malnati's in his presser with Chicago, and he tried to send him a Lou Malnati's pizza for Saturday, and JJ declined. He said, "I can't accept any food that close to game day," but I appreciate the offer. But Kaplan was trying to beef him up a little bit to slow him down for the game on Sunday.
He doesn't want to get poisoned like Jordan either. So
exactly, that's what he referenced. What he's accepting. That. So, I know JJ has ties because his wife plays for the soccer team in Chicago. You did mention everyone knows about Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes just being piled on Mitch. And this week, of course, Deshaun Watson comes to the lakefront. Last year, you guys had Patrick Mahomes come to the lakefront. Do you guys, does that make you guys bind together a little stronger for Mitch and have his back in that way? Or is that not even in your mindset when you're entering a game?
No, I don't even care about that stuff.
Sure.
I got my man back regardless. You know what I mean? When I step out on that field, that's my guy, and I'm doing my best I possibly can to protect him. So that other stuff, that's for the media guys. That's for you guys to talk about.
And that's what we do, Charles. We beat our head against the wall about silly storylines on Twitter, and but that is what it's about. Sports are about storylines and things like that, and overcoming the odds and peaks and valleys. That's what makes it beautiful. You learn a lot about yourself and about life in sports and in football for sure. So, before we wrap it up and send you packing, I do want to know, what's it like, being a girl dad? I'm a girl dad myself, and I know you got number 2 on the way. You shared this with your social media here the other day. Congratulations on that.
Congratulations.
How's life been so far? Being a girl dad. Your first one is what, 6 months old?
Yep. She's 6 months old. That is really cool, man. One of my favorite things I get to do every day. I mean, it's clear we got long days and stuff like that, but I feed her before she goes to bed every day, and I put her down for bed. It's one of the best things. Like, this may sound this doesn't sound bad. This football that I'm playing, it means absolutely nothing in comparison to raising a child.
It definitely puts things in perspective.
Like I'm super blessed for the job I have and opportunity I have doing this. But being a parent, raising my daughter, that's before everything. So
it certainly puts things into perspective, and they make you grow up quick, especially, you're about to hit the precipice, because once they start crawling and then they get, walking, it's like it goes from crawl to walking. Addison, it took her like 10 days. So they don't take long. And then after that, it's full steam ahead. So I'm excited for you in that regard, Charles, because then you got number 2 coming too. So it's double down. Yeah. Jenny's trying to convince me to have number 2. I'm nervous. We're because I have a girl, you kind of root for a boy, a little bit. I wanted a boy the first time around. So it's like, now I got to go for number 2. But then you had 2 girls. Tom Waddle's got 5 girls. So
the crazy thing is, I thought about it. You know what I mean? I really thought about this hard. It's like, I want a boy. I want to do this. I want to do. Then I thought about how tough I'll be on him first and foremost. So he probably is just not going to like me, right? And then you think about how nice you are to your girls and what I'm going to do for my girls and how spoiled they're going to be. When I'm older, older in life, if I'm not living with one of them, I'm definitely living with the other. They're going to take care of me when I'm older, man. Like, think about that.
Little girls love their daddy.
They love their dads, man.
Yeah.
It's like woman nature to take care and nurture. I'm straight. I'm set for life.
Well, it's exciting stuff, and congratulations to you and Jen. You guys have always been really great with me everywhere. I've always, harassing you at training camp or at the Bears Expos back in our old normal lives where we used to be able to do things. So we'll cut you loose, Charles. You're out of detention class now. The questions and all that. We appreciate all your time, carving out your time tonight. I know you've been battling the injury report and all the COVID craziness and everything else in between. For you to carve out a little time and talk a lot about the Chicago Bears means a lot to us. So best of luck this Sunday. Knock them dead and get that momentum back in the right direction, my man.
Let's do it. I appreciate you guys. Y'all take care. Bear down.
Yeah, you too, man. Bear down.
We'll talk soon, my man. All right, Charles Leno. Left tackle of your Chicago Bears.
I loved him being like, give him the rock. I mean, how many times have we been screaming that week after week to give David Montgomery the touches? And I love that he just straight up, first thing out of his mouth, give him the rock, see what he can become. So I totally agree with that.
100%. Yeah, he, like I said, we're all football fans. Fan is short for fanatic. And we all have our criticisms. We all scream at our TVs and curse and say awful things at our TV because we want our football team to win. But, he is a good man. He, working hard in the community, good father and everything else. And while we want our football team to be good and we want him to succeed, for him to come on here and, face the music and talk to the fans, says a lot. So it speaks to him. And we appreciate Charles' time coming on tonight. So our first ever Brags in the Stands interview with a current member of
Chicago Bear.
That's right. That was exciting. Cool was that? Really cool stuff. So before we move on to our world famous Johnny B segment that everyone knows and loves here at Brags in the Stands, I got to do my little read for our guy because it is the Christmas season. And it is indeed. And I want you all to make sure you get over to my guys at Fan Bags because they have great stuff for you. And it's Christmas and it's a great gift for your dad or your mom, or you could, like, what I like to do is I'll get my wife a gift that's really just a gift for me, and it says to Jenny, and she opens it and she doesn't understand why I gave it to her, and then I just use it. So
it's the old Homer Simpson bowling ball trick.
The old Homer Simpson bowling ball trick. You're absolutely
right. That didn't end well for Homer, so be careful.
Well, I'm crazy like a fox, as Homer would say. So Matt, Charles Leno, left tackle of the Chicago Bears interview was brought to you by Fan Bags Cornhole, Chicago's official supplier of professional cornhole boards and bags. Choose from any of their officially licensed designs or have my boy Brian design a custom set using anything from a selfie to your company's logo. Visit www.fanbagscornhole.com and use the promo code BRAGS to get 10% off your entire order. That's www.fanbagscornhole.com and use the promo code BRAGS for 10% off. Step up your game with Fan Bags Cornhole.
Cornhole. You always gotta say that. Cornhole.
It's in the game.
Gotta pronounce that.
Always gots to.
Look at that. You made it all the way through the jazz song.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And our guy Christian Shanafelt in the chat giving us a little well done, and I appreciate that. We were all nervous about our interview, and we knew you guys in the chat were going to be super fired up. We tried to pull up some comments, but we were, flying away at the questions, and we appreciate everyone's interactiveness, here in the chat and hanging out for Brags in the Stands. That's right. As we move on to our, world famous Johnny B for 3 segment, and for those of you who don't know Johnny B, he's known for a lot of things. He is our in-house gambling aficionado, but, as me, a fan in the stand, he is also an ultimate fan in the stand, and he shared along this video with me. And if the Deshaun Watson, coming to town doesn't make you hurt as a Bears fan, this video will. So I'll share along, this bird's eye view of our guy Johnny B Sunday Night Football.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's
what a show off.
There's our. You look at him hot dogging.
Hot dogging it out
dogging.
there. He knows
Man.
everybody loves him.
He's not even that good to be hot dogging that much. That's how I feel about it. And you said
routine. That's a routine to get pumped.
Johnny B sends me, he goes to the game and I tell him to get me video, of plays. And this is the stuff he sends me is this propaganda. I'm going through tough times, Johnny, with Deshaun Watson coming to town. And then you got to send, hey, I got this Patrick Mahomes hype video. Make sure you add that into it so we can all, love and adore one Patrick Mahomes a little more because that's what Bears fans need. How are we doing tonight, Johnny?
Well, it is what it is. I was a struggling fan for a long time.
That's true. That's true.
Always hope. Without hope in the world, we're nothing. We're trying to get through a pandemic. The betting has been a little crazy with all this. Who's playing, who's not. So you always have hope. If you don't have hope, you don't have anything.
That's right.
That's a good sentiment, and that's a good sentiment. And I'm only busting your chops, because I am happy for you. This is your second game you've gone to now. So now you've gone to more than me. I hope you're happy. The Bears play in Jacksonville, and I could go to that game if I wanted, but I think I'd be absolutely nuts to go there on a few different levels. And I think maybe the way the Bears have been playing this year might be at the top of the list. I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
if they have no shot of making the playoffs, I would not be making that trip.
I'm not going there no matter what. It's too far. The Nashville trip was nice about that is I could drive and keep myself isolated and everything else. But you also shared, a video of a touchdown from the game, and you're always good at getting the shots. And I always appreciate a good shot from the stands. So I'll share this Travis Kelce's touchdown as he rumbles into the end zone for the fans here watching.
That's the over.
What a fantastic video. You get the touchdown. Then you're taking the reaction of, of course, your gambling's always on the mind. You get hit the over with that touchdown. So it's a double down of happiness. And then you turn right in time of the fireworks going off. Life is good to be Johnny B.
Well, that's the funny thing about that is that reception right there, even though I think he had 9 or 10 receptions, but that particular reception right there was on my game day picks Sunday morning video. Travis Kelce over 5.5 receptions. So it just happened to be the one that I recorded, and that's why we were getting the money going. And I know about 600-700 people watched that video, so I hope they bet that pick. And then obviously the fireworks were probably for us because we cashed it.
There you go. And you're always, like I said, gambling is always at the forefront. And that is what you're you're known for a lot of things. So I don't want to say it's what you're most known for, but one of your many traits, one of your many skills is your gambling, expertise. And that is what you bring to the table here at Brags in the Stands. For those of you joining us for the first time tonight, Johnny B for 3 is on fire with his picks. And our segment is called Johnny B for 3. So I'm going to let him take the reins and explain to you why you should be listening to Johnny B for 3 and going with his picks every single week. And I'm going to give you the mic, my man, and I'm going to stop doing my talking.
Let's do it. Well, first of all, like I said, those of you who've been watching, we do the picks on the show, which I submit on Thursday night, sometimes Wednesday night. Those have been just going okay with all the COVID. They're about 500. But the game day picks are what's been on fire. The game day picks for this week were Travis Kelce, we just saw, over 5.5 receptions. Kirk Cousins, over 1.5 touchdown passes. And then the last one, which I gave a little bonus out on Twitter, was the Washington football team plus 3.5. And that one paid a plus on the odds. And I also bet the money line myself, and that also paid. So those game day picks are actually at about 21-6 for the game day picks. I put those out on Sunday morning, and I tag Brags in the Stands. So right now, the other one's a little bit 500, a little bit under, but the game day picks are absolutely on fire, and that's a little bit more realistic because I'm making the picks right before the game starts, and I have all the information. So let's get into it. Donnie B for 3. We'll get into the show picks today, and I kind of like these this week. The Chiefs, anytime it's hot weather and it's not a night game, it doesn't matter if it's L.A., it doesn't matter where it is. If it's hot, they score points. Chiefs all day. Tua's not going to be able to hold it with Mahomes. Take the Chiefs by the hook at -6.5. So you get it under a touchdown at -127. My number 2 pick, the Saints. I mean, you got to like what they're doing with defense. You're going against Jalen Hurts. He's going to make his first NFL start. I'm expecting a couple picks out of Hurts. And I think the Saints are going to roll easy with the defense in the running game. I'm taking the Saints -6.5 at -15. Pretty good odds there for a winning team. And number 3, Titans. They're looking to bounce back. They're playing a team that doesn't have a very good defense. The Packers are playing the Lions, and you know Rodgers is going to light that up. They're going to tease both of those down to under a field goal. Put them together for that parlay tease at -122, and I really like that pick this week as well. So 500 or so, a little under on the show picks. I'm really liking all 3 of these picks, and I, of course, will do, as always, my game day pick video Sunday morning before the NFL games start. And I got a couple ideas already. We'll see how it turns out as we get closer to kickoff.
Johnny,
all right,
B for 3, and that's how he does it. And our guy Chubbs is busting your chops in the chat as per you, as Chubbs always does, and he always is busting chops. He claims that you guys been winning for 15 years, and you got
not 15 years. I mean, we did draft Eric Fisher with the first overall pick not 15 years ago. So
right.
2 and 14, I believe. I can't remember because Patrick Mahomes has erased all the bad memories. I just want to go over this. You know, I drove to the game, and I stopped in Iowa on my way the night before on Saturday night. And I got this old school parlay ticket at their sports book. So I'll just go over these things. And I'm going to talk about somebody who likes to call himself Mr. Unlimited. I don't know if you know who that is, and I'll talk about that in a second. So I had the Lions +13.5. I didn't know who was going to win that game. I talked about it last week. I thought it was a field goal game. Dolphins -1.5. Easy cover. Vikings +0.5. I had the Packers +0.5. I had the Chiefs -4, and I had the Bills +7.5. So it all came down to one team for $600 profit. And the guy that quarterbacks this team is called Mr. Unlimited. I mean, he made this video where his wife, Sierra, is in the back saying, yeah, you go, baby, you go, baby. So Mr. Unlimited, all he had to do was win by 1.5 points at home against a 4-7 team. And I almost changed this and didn't put this because of Chubb's pick, even though McCoy was the quarterback. But Mr. Unlimited, Russell Wilson, choked, and I lost the 600 because the Giants and Chubb's upset pick of the week.
Ouch.
So I'm not happy. If anybody knows Russell Wilson, tell me he owes me $600.
Mr. Limited.
Mr. Limited, that's correct.
Mr. Limited. It's gonna be interesting because Johnny B, he's telling that his upset pick this week is going to be the Dolphins. So
Chubbs has never gone back-to-back weeks with his upset pick.
I disagree. I think he hit like the first 3 in a row.
I don't think he's gone back-to-back.
He's hit the first 3 in a row. I know that because that's how he got our attention with his upset picks. And he's been on my side about the Washington football team. You guys had made fun of me.
Time, though. And
you guys made fun of me about, did they win? I forget.
Yes, they beat the Steelers.
And I messed that up. All right. I'm sorry. I should have picked them. And I was thinking about switching it during the show last week. I was thinking about switching it during the show, but I'd already done it once and I didn't want to push it. But Washington football team is my team. I've been calling that all year. You guys have been making fun of me. And now here they are. Everybody loves them now.
Wait, where's that Chiefs game this weekend? What stadium is it at?
Miami.
Hard Rock Stadium, the same stadium that they came from behind against the best defense in the league last year and scored 31 on the 49ers defense last year with Bosa and Buckner and all those guys. Yeah, not worried about it, Chubbs.
So Chubbs is saying he went back-to-back and he has a winning record when it comes to upset picks, and I have to side with Chubbs here. He is right. He's been hitting his upset picks, and he helped me do that one switcheroo couple weeks ago, and I got it right. So I'm going to side with Chubbs here. And Weird Al Flash says the Chiefs will not just win, but they will cover. So little difference of opinion there. So we'll see what happens. And our guy Ryan Cox, everybody loves Johnny B and his segment, world famous segment, Johnny B for 3. So he's giving away the picks. Hopefully you guys can make some money from your couch. What do you think, Johnny B? We were talking to Charles a little bit about it. You have Patrick Mahomes, of course, in there at Kansas City. We went to the game last year when Mahomes, scampers into the end zone, for 6 and then is counting to 10 on his fingers.
Yeah.
What do you think is, not to give away our pick'ems, but, what do you think is to come for, Deshaun Watson coming to the lakefront? Do you think we're going to have another moment where Deshaun is counting at his fingers, the way Patrick was last year?
I don't know what Deshaun will do. There's some reports out there that the Bears really didn't show too much interest in him pre-draft. I'm not sure how much accuracy there is to that. I guess the Bears did bring in Mahomes quite a bit, and they had, a session with him or whatever, and they seemed very interested in him. So maybe they gave him an idea that they were going to draft him, and maybe that's why he did that. He never admitted that's why he did it. Of course, that's just the way Mahomes is. He's pretty humble, even though when he gets a little bit, confident or cocky, he doesn't really like to talk about or put anybody's face. He just does these little things, little symbolism, innuendos, things like that make you think, is that why he did that? Just like this year when they put him number 4 on the NFL list, and then he started, holding up the number 4 in his hands when he did a sick touchdown. So I don't know what Deshaun's going to do. He might be just like, they didn't want me, and he just might try to light it up. But, that's why they play the games, and, they're missing some weapons, and we'll see what the Bears can do.
Should be interesting.
Indeed.
I know most Bears fans are dreading it, but you never know. You just never know. So with that being said, let's go to our pick'ems because Johnny had a big week last week.
Previous week, yes.
Previous
last week, yours truly had a better week, but not by much.
I had a pretty good week.
You did. So
when last week, ever have good
last
week? Did I have a good week?
Last week I went 12-3. Johnny went 11-4, and Greg went 10-5. So we all had pretty good weeks, I'd say. Pretty good weeks.
Of course, I had the worst week.
Johnny now holds a 5-game lead, and this week I went absolutely crazy in my picks because I got to make up 5 games in the next 3 weeks. So
you're not even talking about how many games I got to make up. Am I out of the picture?
You got to make up 10, my friend. So you should be going hog wild with your picks. Anything you think is rational, you should do the opposite and see what happens. So last night we all took the Rams across the board. That was a good pick. Leading into Titans Jags, we have Titans across the board. Vikings Bucks across the board. And here to lend itself into Chubbs a little bit.
No, you don't mean that.
To beat the Chiefs. And this is one of those strategic choices where I'm thinking something's got to give. Sometimes when people travel down to Florida, crazy things happen. Good teams. I hope it's humid for some reason. And
Mahomes has never lost in Florida.
Exactly. So here we go. This is one of my wacky picks. I'm picking for an update.
It did take them a while to get going in the Super Bowl. It took them all the way till 9 minutes in the fourth quarter to finally wake up. To refresh the memory.
You can't win them all, Johnny B.
Yeah,
no, I mean, they did win. They did win.
We did win, and we won by double digits. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it turned quickly. We should have
all talking about this week.
I'm sorry. Because it was the same stadium was why I referenced.
I know. Look, I fully would any other week would pick the Chiefs to win. I'm just taking a gamble here.
Oh, hey, remember all those years of Tom Brady having trouble down in Miami?
That's what I'm referencing. They used to always come down from the Northeast and have a hard time.
Mahomes has never lost in the state of Florida.
And then, of course, you're also with Chubbs. This is Chubbs' upset pick. So you're on
whatever side Chubbs is on. That's the side I always want to be on.
All right. Well, that is abundantly clear because Chubbs is a smart man. That's it.
Brilliant, man.
Nothing else to it.
Yeah.
And the winner of the Dan Hampton jersey that he was that was really cool of Johnny B to give away.
If you hang out at Brags in the Stands, good things happen. So let that be a lesson to everyone.
My guy, Johnny.
Going forward here, we got Broncos at Panthers. I'm taking Broncos. Greg's taking Broncos. Johnny B's taking the Panthers. This is another one of those where I was thinking I'm going to take the Broncos. I mean, this is one of those games where the Panthers aren't fantastic, but I would expect them to win the game at home. But I'm going to take the Broncos in this one. And here we go. We'll take a minute and talk on this one. Texans.
Weird Al's with you on that, Jake, not to cut you off. He also has Broncos.
Hey, he's with you too, Greg. You picked the Broncos.
Of course,
He's with us.
He's with us, and Carolina's not very good.
No, they're not.
Christian McCaffrey's not coming back.
Oh, he's not?
Not this week, at least.
I thought he was.
Chubbs is very excited too. So
that's the first time he's ever said, "Oh
we
yeah,
should
Jay."
take a picture of this. That's what I'm saying. We should take
document this.
Like honestly, we should literally. I need to just get this up just so I can like screenshot it here.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Here,
there you
smile,
go.
Jake, so I can get it.
Oh,
okay, I'm done screwing around for a minute.
Right.
Go ahead with that.
So let's take a minute on this. So I'm taking the Bears this weekend, and Greg and Johnny are taking the Texans. So what are we thinking on this one, boys? My thought process is here. Look, the Bears should have won last week, and the defense played incredibly uncharacteristically bad football, and I just don't expect. And I don't expect that 2 weeks in a row, especially from a Texans team.
let me say this:
not back.
Is this defense good?
They are good, but I don't know what the hell is going on.
Yeah, because Akeem Hicks comes
that
back.
Personnel on our defense.
Akeem Hicks, I feel like it's a totally different team. But
Akeem Hicks, I think, is playing because he's a dog, but I think he's hurt.
They're just not getting
Same with Khalil Mack. He's been on the injury report a bunch here in the last month. So it's hard to say if he's 100% healthy because he hasn't been getting home like he was earlier in the season against like Tampa Bay Buccaneers and things like that. They are a good defense. They've had an extremely inconsistent offense the last few years. And it's like you hate saying it because you would hope that they would not let go of the rope, but it does feel a little of a giving up factor when Matt Stafford's throwing for 500 yards. It's one thing when Aaron Rodgers
how can you do that when you're in position to win out with these winnable games? I mean, after what happened against the Packers and everything that they said all week long, to come out and let Stafford put up 34 points on you, I think it was 34, right? Was ridiculous, and it's totally uncharacteristic of what I would expect from this defense.
Well, it's the way they're playing defense, as Chubbs is pointing out in the chat. Chuck Pagano has a lot to do with this. When Vic Fangio, who coaches the Denver Broncos now, when he was the defensive coordinator for this team, they were on the right track. Now all of a sudden, Chuck Pagano is this year. We're back to the 2006 gripe.
Vic
of
Fangio is the 2018 Coach of the Year.
Yeah,
they're
playing too far off the receivers. How many years have we said this as Bears fans? I can literally remember going to a Bears expo where you used to be able to go and ask the head coach and the quarterback. You could walk right up to a podium. There'd be a whole line of fans and 10,000 fans in the Cadillac Club of the Bears Stadium. And you used to be able to ask them directly. I once asked Jay Cutler why the Bears couldn't play well in the red zone. And then I once asked Lovie Smith, why do we never jam at the line of scrimmage? I literally stood at the podium, mic, and said, I know nothing about football, but I don't understand why we always play 15 yards off. And now it's 2020, and I'm back to that complaint. I mean, it's like dropping into, I see Berlissimo, freaking out about zone coverage on third down and, making Twitter threats, if he does it again. And it's like,
he's going to fly over here and kick someone's ass.
I would not. Berlissimo is a very large man. I would not mess with him. I should know. I've slept with him. So that's where I don't get it with Chuck Pagano. In regards to that, I do think they're a talented defense, to answer your question, Johnny, but I don't think they're necessarily being coached right. And I hate saying that because, I wanted it to work out. It seemed like
fired. Do you bring him back?
If
he's not getting fired, I don't think.
And Jake doesn't like even talking about this, but if Jim Harbaugh comes here and Greg Roman and Vic Fangio are Jim Harbaugh's coordinators as they were in San Francisco, there is a scenario where Vic Fangio could come back to the Bears. In that scenario,
I don't think Vic Fangio would be caught dead working for John Harbaugh again. Honestly,
Jim Harbaugh, I think he
Jim
would.
Harbaugh, I don't
100%.
think he would.
100% he would. I don't know.
He's not getting fired. He's not getting fired.
More irritating, honestly. Which one's more irritating?
Jim. I mean, John's a prick too, but John
has been upping his prick game lately. I mean,
yeah,
really,
like with his all the beef that he had with what's the Titans coach name? I can't think of it right now. Vrabel,
yeah.
all the shit he was doing because they were celebrating at the 50-yard line or whatever on the stadium or on the logo or whatever. So
Arrowhead at the AFC Championship. That's just something they do to try to get you all fired up.
Yeah, and look what Vic did. Vic just held the Chiefs to how many points?
Did he really, though? I mean, we had a touchdown we didn't review. There was a BS holding call and another 50-yarder.
That's fair.
I mean, there was points.
He's a damn. If you're gonna, I mean, look, they're in the AFC whatever West.
Yeah,
is it
AFC West?
They're AFC West, whether they like it or not, and you're gonna have to be able to defend against Justin Herbert and the Chiefs, who are coming up, and Patrick Mahomes and the Raiders, who are no slouches. So there's no reason to get rid of a Vic Fangio if you got him on your team, because the guy knows defense and he knows it well. So I would very much.
I just feel like, where they're going with Locke and what they're trying to do, they're trying to keep pace, like you said, with the Chiefs' high-flying offense, and the Raiders have thrown up some points this year, and obviously Herbert is going to be a stud. I mean, yeah, the defense is important, but I think you're going to have to score some points too, and I just don't know unless he gets the right coordinator. I don't know if that's the coach.
Well, they might not have the right quarterback for that either. So they're going to have a hard decision. Well, they're going to have to make a choice, because what you see of Drew Lock is he's getting injured all the time and he's not executing that offense the way he probably should be. And that's Pat Shurmur offense.
He's not very big, Drew Lock. He's stature wise, if he's going to take a lot of hits, he's not going to last very long, because he looks like a sixth grader. Honestly, he doesn't look that big. I don't know. Maybe I'm a big guy, but I eat too much. I eat too much. What do I know?
The guy that ran away from the Oklahoma drill immediatly.
Yeah,
I didn't run away from it. I got ran over first, and then I ran away. Jeez.
I think Leno Jr. was teasing you a little bit. I think he was giving you a little business there.
Hey, that's okay. I can take it, because it was one of my embarrassing defining moments of my childhood. I referenced the Michael Jordan question, that I asked to him at the Michael Jordan basketball game. I got no problem making fun of myself. I've done some goofy things in my time, and I like sharing them with everyone. And the Oklahoma story is a famous one I've shared, in my Bears barroom days, and I know everyone over there enjoyed it. So I'm sure Charles enjoyed hearing it, because we're all average Joes. And I'm sure, hey, everyone's been knocked on their ass. If I had known I was going to bring that up, Matt Nagy's first year as the coach of the Bears, they actually ran the Oklahoma drill, or some variation of it, where it was kind of a special teams drill, where you had to act as the gunner and you had to run a certain amount of distance, then turn around and block the guy coming at you at full steam. And so, whatever, Idaho, Montana drill. And I'm following you. And Nick Kwiatkowski completely got ran over by somebody. I can't remember anymore, but he got completely ran over. And then Kyle Fuller ran over someone to the right. It happens even to the best. Someone's going to get ran over. So, that's where I'm at. And, speaking of head coaching candidates, a couple former Bears that are on the, mindset of a lot of people. How about the job of defensive coordinator for the Rams here? What was his name?
Brandon Staley.
Brandon Staley. He used to coach the Bears, and
he's
now
even the name of the mascot.
Exactly. Just like your whole theory when we should have got Harrison Butker, who now kicks for the Chiefs, and you were pounding the table. The Bears must sign Harrison Butker. You are the Chicago Bears. Butker Bears. If you don't, you're a dumb organization. And it turns out you were right. So now we have Staley, a hot head coaching candidate, and he coached with the Bears. The Bears like those kind of things. Do you think that Staley could be the defense coordinator, become head
That seems
coach?
like a Chicago thing to do. But we'll see. We got to see what happens.
You
with
want
this
an
GM.
offensive coach, don't you?
I honestly, I don't know what I want. I want a good quarterback.
Train wrecks
I want a
of
good
Trestman
quarterback.
and Nagy.
The Bears need a good quarterback, and that's what they need really bad. And that's why I'm hopeful that we'll be in a position to get one of those quarterbacks. And if that means we don't win games, fine. But the Bears aren't going to be anything until they have a quarterback.
You
so
pick the Bears to win, though. So
I did because I think they will win. I think they will win because that's what they spite me. They hate my guts. So that's just something they would do. I do it. The Bears are too good to be losing. They were too good to have lost to the Lions last week. That was maddening. And they're too good to lose to the Texans this week, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. So of course I'm taking the Bears because I just think football wise, they should win this game. And if they don't, it's just like, man, you're awful.
Chubbs wants Greg Olsen, so we'll probably end up getting Greg Olsen.
Well, let's get back into these picks. I don't want to get too far off before we
shall not.
All right, so here we go. Arizona at Giants. Damn it, Virginia.
Virginia.
Arizona at Giants. I'm taking Giants in this one. Traveling cross country. It's going to be cold. Giants, we can pull it out. Greg and Johnny are taking the Cardinals. Cowboys at Bengals. Cowboys across the board. Colts at Raiders. Johnny and I are taking Colts. Greg's got the Raiders. Here you go, Greg. Here's one where you can make a little ground.
Let's go, Raiders.
It's been a good week for you to take the Jets. Jets at Seahawks. Seahawks just let a stinker out against the Giants. Ruining Johnny's $600 prize. But we are taking the Seahawks across the board in this one. Green Bay at Detroit. Packers, too good across the board. Atlanta at Chargers. I'm taking Chargers in this one. I thought I would be in the minority. Greg's taking Chargers as well. Johnny B's taking the Falcons. Here we go. Here's where I can make up some ground. Washington at 49ers. I'm taking the 49ers. Greg and Johnny taking Washington. Washington is the kind of the NFL darling right now, beating the undefeated Steelers. They have a really good defensive line. Alex Smith is probably the best story in football right now.
Grudge game. Don't forget.
Grudge game is right. That I didn't even think about that until you just said it. So yes, that is a big Greg game. But you know what? Kyle Shanahan is just one of those guys that I have a hard time rooting against because I think he's one of the finest coaches in the league. So I'm going to take the Niners in this one. Greg and Johnny taking Washington. Saints at Eagles. We got Saints across the board. Further solidifying Johnny's theory that Carson Wentz is not a franchise quarterback, not an elite quarterback. Well, now he's riding the bench. So that is absolutely a fact, and they are in contract hell with that one. So we are taking Saints across the board against a mightily struggling Eagles team. Here we go. Steelers at Buffalo. Buffalo is also the NFL's darling right now. I'm taking the Steelers in this one, mostly because I need to make some ground. I do love the Bills. I'm taking Steelers. Greg and Johnny taking the Bills, but this is probably going to be the game of the week if I had to guess. This is a great matchup, and I'm really looking forward to watching that one. And finally, Baltimore Ravens at Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns are also one of the hotter teams in the league. I'm taking Ravens in this one. Normally, I probably would have taken the Browns, trying to make up some ground. Greg and Johnny taking the Browns.
I mean, Lamar Jackson, he had one good touchdown throw, but
one good throw, yeah.
Those throws were holy cow in the dirt, in the feet. Yeah. They were bad. Keep them in the pocket.
J.K. Dobbins can play, and he can run the football. They need to just get back to controlling the clock and running the football. And their defense is good, but they've been a little suspect of late. So I'm just going to say they control time position.
They had that outbreak. They had a bunch of guys out with that. So they got
that last week. They had a bunch of guys out.
No, when they were.
Yeah, I know they
got a couple of guys back for the last game they won. I know it wasn't very good competition, but they should be getting back to full strength, whatever that means.
And
I'm one of those guys that has a hard time, given Baker Mayfield his props because I've watched a lot of Browns games this year, having Nick Chubb on my fantasy team,
Did you see?
and he is very, very suspect. And
Did you
sometimes
see-
he's hot, and other times you wouldn't want him as your quarterback. So,
But did you see the Baker Mayfield touchdown celebration?
I did. The slide in was very smooth.
They did this. Did you see it, Johnny?
I don't think I
Okay, I wish I would have pulled the video for this. I didn't know we were going to talk about it, but they did a red carpet rollout touchdown celebration dance, and it was really cool. They used the back white line of the back of the end zone as the red carpet, and then they had two guys on the side kind of roll it out for the wide receiver. I think it was Rashard Higgins, and he's standing there, and they roll the red carpet out, and out of nowhere, Baker Mayfield does a baseball slide 100 miles per hour, and then kicks up and is like taking pictures of Higgins coming down. It was really slick.
It was smooth. It was very smooth.
What's annoying about Baker is he does all those things, and then that's what people hate about him because he does those things. But then he does that, and you're like, damn it, that was cool.
You know,
What?
you got to practice that. That's something that just doesn't happen.
That's the thing, though. I mean, yeah, I guess they did, but you're right because – I mean, it was really well done. I have
that
to
in
say.
between all
gotta
the commercials.
And so, and Kevin Stefanski over there has got the right, things. You heard Charles Leno talking about the play caller and chemistry and fit. And, the Browns have now tried a different approach. And Jake should know he's got both running backs on his fantasy team. And they're going all out run, and that's giving Baker Mayfield easy reads, and they're winning games because of it. So, that's what the Bears are hoping for is they can find
That's one guy that if he wouldn't have got eaten up by the Browns, Stefanski would have been one of those guys that could have just fit really well in Chicago with the way his offensive mind works. He's one of those guys you could see being successful here. 100%. And Josh Allen was one of those guys years ago that was like, God, he would be the most perfect Chicago Bears quarterback. And that's one of those guys that it's just a shame it didn't come to fruition, but hey, here we are.
Yep. And
Browns offense too is, as they're getting more, obviously running it in games and practicing it more and more, it just seems to be getting, more fluent and better. They know who they are. But it just seems like they're getting more confidence.
And I'm sorry. And another thing too, Jake, is I do believe you got the numbers wrong on our win-loss from last week because there was, a change of one of the games.
And then boom, all of a sudden, I go from winning by a lot to losing a tight race. It's corrupt. Detroit is corrupt. I have a lot of friends in Detroit. They know it. But Detroit is totally corrupt. Look at this. Look at this.
I love that. I love that video. That's
amazing job by Nathan.
Great job, Nathan.
Great job by Nathan. I'm unbelievable.
I love Nagy just standing back there like, yes.
Everybody always tries to set off the funniest tweet of the night when the Bears lose, and Nathan won maybe the best tweet of the year with that work. You got Nagy in the background, you got Trump holding the sign, and the Bears, final score and all and the stats, and then the best part about it is he's talking about Detroit. I know, it's unbelievable to me.
Hey, that was very clever work.
So Nathan, that's going to be a staple.
Hats off to you, sir.
And yes, shout out to Nathan. I wanted to give him his proper credit here because he did an incredible job. And I know some people were, yanking it for their own retweets and likes, which is a little annoying. Give the man a retweet for his hard work. Give a little hat tip.
Props to you, sir.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. So I reached out to Nathan and asked if we could play that for the show tonight, and he did. So I played it to start our show, and it was a really good one. And so
we forgot to give him props after the fact. So
that's
it's good.
Right. So I want to make sure we get it in here for our Top Shot segment because we have a top shot opening segment where we talk to some great guests. We've talked to Tom Waddle. We've talked to Charles Leno tonight. We've talked to so many great people, Dion Miller from ABC7 Chicago, and so many people. Even Johnny B was one of our special guests when we do his infamous duck races that we always do.
Oh, ducks line up! Ducks line up!
I haven't hit that button.
Hey, you got a mask.
Just got these from one of my partners. Got two of these Bears masks. It sucks that they don't have the stadium open because you'd obviously have to wear them at the games.
Yeah, but that's perfect.
Yeah,
those are perfect because you hide your identity as a Bears fan.
A couple Bears ones, and he sent me some Chiefs ones. He does all 32 teams. And next time we do a race here, which I'm going to start planning here soon, with whatever prize we give away, I'm going to throw these masks in with it. So
nice.
Just this week. So.
Nice little icing on the cake.
Yeah. So Chubbs wants to know why he didn't get any questions in for the Charles Leno interview. And you know what? To be honest, there was a lot of comments rolling.
We held him for a long time in that interview too.
On for a while, and we had a lot of questions. I was reading, and it was hard with so many comments coming through. I tried to read through and post some up, but Chubbs, I'm sorry we didn't get to you today. Maybe for the next player we bring on. Depending on how nice you are, we'll let you get a question.
It was minus 285 that Chubbs didn't get a question, and that's just how unlikely it was. Minus 285.
It was really hard on me. I was going to share a video with you guys. I sent him a snap this morning because he was the one I was referencing, Shane Marsaw from the Dave Never Lies Network. He was like, you better not be soft on him, Greg. Like I'm the fanboy guy that always gasses up the players, of course. So it's hard for me to be, the critical and
I thought it was a fair interview. We're talking about look, this is kind of what I was saying earlier too. It's hard to call out a specific player right now on this Bears team when there's so many things that are wrong. So if you're going to say, hey, Charles, how come you did this, that, last week in the game or whatever other week, but what the state of this team has been almost this whole season offensively. So it's kind of hard to just single this guy out when so many things have gone wrong.
Well, the bottom is he's a pro. I mean, obviously you could tell that from his responses. He wasn't ready to throw anybody under the bus. All of these guys that play top, level Division I college football, they're all winners. They're used to winning. And unfortunately in NFL, you get drafted, everything gets thrown together. You hope the coaching staff connects with the players. They start making lots of money, and you just got to figure it out. And unfortunately, when you get to the NFL, the top of the pyramid of football, some people got to lose and some people got to win. So you got to figure it out. But you could tell he was a professional. And he did tell everybody out.
I agree with Jake. We gave a fair shake interview, and he's always been friendly with me, so I never want to step out of the line of being disrespectful in any way. He said it a few times. Let's call it for what it is. He knows that the team is struggling, and he's had his struggles at times. He's not hiding from that. He sees it on the tape every week, and for him to come on the show and answer our questions from some lowly fans. We're not credentialed media that he is, that he's, has some, agreement that he has to answer those questions, those people, or, a working relationship with those guys. We're not Adam Johns. We're not, JJ Stankovitz. So for him to come on Brags in the Stands tonight, 2 days before Bears Texans, and talk about, the team and everything, his career, and of course his charity, Leno Claus, that's what we wanted to bring him on for, to talk about his charitable work around the city too, and give that the proper spotlight it deserves. So, we do appreciate his time.
I'm not smart enough to call out Charles Leno for his play. I'll put you right there.
Right.
I didn't coach, the O-line. Like Barlissimo would be a guy who's actually coached and played at a certain level and understands these things. I'm not the right guy to be calling out any sort of thing like that, because that's like me calling out, an aeronautical engineer when something's wrong with the space shuttle. It's just not my place.
Sure. I mean, like I said, I'm not afraid, Bear Truth 9 saying, I don't want to ask, I don't want to ask hard questions. I got no problem asking a hard question. I just don't want to be disrespectful to any of our guests. We have somebody come on, that's appreciated. And I'm sure, he can appreciate, a well-rounded discussion, but there is a line to be had, and I'm not going to cross it. And it's my first interview with an active player. So, I'm going to make sure I toe that line correctly tonight. I'm not trying.
It wasn't all cupcakes and rainbows. You obviously got some.
The team's on a massive losing streak, and he knows from anybody, from being drafted. He got drafted in the 2000. Yeah, exactly. He got drafted in the 2014 season, and now he's on this 2020 season. And to me, 2014 was the second year of Mark Trestman, And, he enters the league right when the Trestman regiment's about to be blown out the doors. And, so he's been through this before. And, there is writing on the wall, but they still have games to be played. You heard Charles Leno talking about one game at a time, winning out. What's important now? So, you're not going to pull any questions out as far as, ask them about new GMs or new head coaches.
Yeah, no, of course
fans
not.
might be there, but players are not. So,
if there's one thing that's absolutely for sure that I felt from when I asked him about it, is this team literally believes that they can make the playoffs still, because they can.
They absolutely
but
can.
Every single thing that he said and the confidence that he explained.
Does Chubb still think they can make the playoffs? It's the Chubbs-o-meter. If Chubb still thinks they can make the playoffs, then
they can. I mean, it's real. It's mathematically possible, so they can. And he's there. That's how they're handling their business. They can still make the playoffs. So until you can't, and that's why anyone, thinking that either Pace or Nagy's going to get run out of town early, I highly doubt it. But once they get pulled out of the playoff situation entirely, then that could be a different story.
100%. So, Chubb says if they can make it, they should try, and they can. So they're going to, so they're going to.
I doubt it, but I think of course they can.
We're talking playoffs, and that's our guy Weird Al Flash in the chat, and he's been hanging out watching the show tonight, and we appreciate you joining us. His name's Al Fleshman. I met him last year. I wish I would have brought the picture up, because at the Waddle and Sylvie Christmas parody contest show they did last year. It was on location at a bar back when we had our normal lives, and I got to go on stage and be on the Waddle and Sylvie show in front of a crowd for a few minutes, and it was a fun little thrill for a minute. And they did the Christmas parody contest, and Al is in it every year. He's in it to win it every single year. And for our Top Shot segment to end the night, I had to share along some more Christmas spirit like we did last week with Danny Rocket, and Al entered another great entry into the Waddle and Sylvie parody contest that I believe just ended today, if I'm not mistaken. I've been so busy with work and everything else trying to buy a house that I didn't get to enter a song in this year. I entered like 5 in last year, and I didn't even get to as a finalist. But Al is so good at these that he's a finalist every year. And so I wanted to share along his entry. He had 2 entries, 12 Days of Christmas, 12 Days of Nagy, and Santa Baby. Santa Baby is the one I'm going to share with you. This song is now one of the finalists to win the Waddle and Sylvie Christmas parody contest, and here it is.
Santa Baby, how about a new bear regime for me? It's been an awful bad year, Santa Baby, and Ryan Pace can leave here tonight. Santa Baby, Mitch Trubisky, he needs to go for show. Have a cold Miller Lite, Santa Baby, I have a lot of wishes tonight. Think of all the stars we missed. Patrick Mahomes, boy, that leaves me pissed. Nick Foles, who thought he would be good, the guy was stiff as Maplewood. Santa Baby, let's approach, we need a different coach. Get this train wreck in gear, Santa Baby, McCaskey's gotta do what's right. Santa honey, one big thing the Bears sure do need. I plead for an offensive line, real good blockers, cause right now they're on the decline. Santa cutie, fill the game plan up with good plays, okay? So let's back up the truck, Santa cutie, cause this team really did suck.
There it is.
What a voice Al's got on him.
Well, so
Very
he
lovely.
produced that one, and that was Al's wife actually singing
The funny
that
thing
song.
is when I was driving home today to get to the show, I was listening to Waddle and Sylvie on the radio, and they actually played that song. They played a couple of the finalists when I was driving back, and that was actually playing as I was driving to do the show.
I was doing some pre-show prep, so I haven't gotten to hear all the finalists. I'll have to go back and listen to the podcast. Al's in the chat right now. I should have gotten his wife's name. Daughter. I apologize, Al. See, I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut off, prepping for the show, and I got work till 4:00, trying to finish a house, and I got
Talented family.
Trying to set up booking to show look at a house tomorrow and everything else. So Al's daughter.
You sound just like
I
Charles
got
Leno.
tons of excuses. I totally lost the Charles Leno's number he was picked at. That pissed me
you blew
off.
that
I
one.
blew that.
Oh,
I couldn't have just said 7th round pick.
Yeah,
I
you
had to
couldn't.
say the number. I had to say the number, and then I get it
probably
wrong.
hates you now.
Now I get, of course I trust Wikipedia. I should have done.
That's why there's that whole thing coming out with Eric DaCosta or whoever it was. I forget who it was, about becoming like the next Bears team president. It's like anybody can edit Wikipedia, so do not listen to whatever's on Wikipedia.
So I have learned my lesson, and I'll have to apologize to him for that. And Al says that his wife couldn't hold a note, so he had his daughter do it. That's pretty funny.
Very talented family there. So
very
good on you,
talented. Al. Great job, and I'm rooting for you to win. You're always a finalist, so you know what you're doing in that regard. So the other song I wanted to share was back to our guy Danny Rocket. Last week we had a couple songs that we shared that one was Cubs and Bears related, and the other one was Cubs related. And Danny Rocket's known as the Cubs man. We've had him on before. He's a Cubs and musician connoisseur. He's got man of many talents, just like our guy Johnny B down there. And Danny Rocket had a little Cubs Christmas song. Last night they were Cubs caroling on his show, the Son Ranto Show. So you got to make sure you follow him, because he is a fantastic follow for Cubs Twitter. So here is his Christmas spirit for the night.
Fall is a business, owners getting paid. Cubs will dump some salary with a crappy trade. Ricketts is out of money, Wilson's on the block. Who's Jed Hoyer gonna move so we can restock? Darvish was great last year, maybe he will go. Chris Bryant cost 19 mil, gotta move that dough. Schwarber and Almora gone, didn't get contracts. If there's one thing Ricketts hates, it's luxury tax. Merry Christmas.
Great job. Al gives it a thumbs up. Danny Rocket, always bringing the heat. Merry Christmas to you, Danny. The Son Ranto Show. Make sure you follow that along on Twitter and YouTube and everywhere you can find it on social media. Our guy, Bear Truth 9's got a question for you, Jacoby.
For me?
Yeah, he says, where Beatles and the Wailers on all-time great bands for you? We did have this conversation, I believe, a little bit before, in our early days.
Well, the Beatles, Beatles have to be, all-time great, because they're fantastic. They're brilliant songwriters and amazing. Bob Marley and the Wailers are more symbolic to me. They're more political. They're more, it's a little different element to me than the Beatles are. But the Beatles are definitely, I don't even listen to the Beatles a ton, but obviously they're top notch when it comes to songwriting.
But how are the Beatles the best when most of their songs were done better by Aerosmith?
Great.
I love saying that. I love saying that. One time, Johnny, we were at a bar by my old house, and there was a Beatles cover band there. And
they're playing Come Together.
And I turned to Jake and I go, why are they playing an Aerosmith song? And Jake looked at me like he was going to cut my head off. It was the funniest thing I think I've ever said to him. It was great. So, that's it. It's for me, my favorite band, and no one cares, is Creedence Clearwater Revival. Thank you very much. I always, that's the song I sing the most in the shower. So that's a good visual. So that'll wrap things up for tonight. We appreciate everybody coming on. This has been a lot of fun tonight. We've done something we've never done before on Brags in the Stands, and that was have someone from the Chicago Bears currently playing come on the show while the season's going on. Pretty cool to say, and we were happy and honored to have Charles Leno, left tackle of the Chicago Bears, come on and carve out a little of his time. We appreciate it, and shout out to him. I know he's been, fighting the injury report and everything else. So, for him to cut out a little bit of time here at Brags in the Stands means a lot, and he definitely cut out a lot of time. So we definitely owe him a Christmas present. So shout out to Charles, and shout out to his wife, Jen, and congratulations on their beautiful family. I know it's exciting stuff to have a little girl and watch them grow. Addison didn't put up too much of a fight tonight for me. So
small victories.
Before I jet and shout everybody out, I got to give my guy Johnny B the floor so he can close out his Johnny B for 3 segment, as Johnny B always does.
All right, guys. Good luck with your bets this week. I got a couple of actions going right now as we speak, and I already hit a three-team parlay in college basketball. We'll see how the football one does. I'll do my game day picks for the NFL Sunday morning. I really like my picks. I can't wait to go head-to-head with Chubbs on his upset special because I'm feeling that Florida Heat, baby, and I'm saying Patrick Mahomes 4 touchdown passes in that game. So I can't wait to do it, Chubbs. And remember, money won is far sweeter than money earned. Woo!
Spaghetti-O. Chubbs has got the Dolphins upsetting, and I've got the Bears losing, unfortunately, but we'll see what happens. I've been wrong before. I've been wrong the last couple weeks on the Bears, and I'm picking them to lose this week. Last couple weeks, I picked them to win.
And I'm picking them to win. Let's go.
Right, so Jake's picking them to win. Maybe follow him because I've been wrong. I've lost my touch with the Bears, my win-loss record.
I picked the Bears last week,
my picks into the midway minute for our guy, Kevin Kadick, the Chicago Sports newsletter that you should all be signed up to. My win-loss record was like one of the best, and now it's starting to fall down because the Bears are becoming unpredictable again. So, whenever Mitch is in, my heartstrings are pulled. So I have trouble picking. When Foles was in, I just knew to pick him to lose every time. So Kyle Lilly's looking forward to you making him some money, Johnny B. He's going to be entering his picks. Chubbs wants to know if I am a big Bob Seger fan. I am a huge Bob Seger fan, and I once saw him at the United Center, and, he didn't play the only song that I wanted him to play, and that's still he has so many great songs. He played like 40, so that doesn't mean he cut the show short. He has my favorite song is Still the Same, and he did not play it. I was very disappointed.
A few bars.
It was an amazing Still the Same.
Yeah.
Yes, I will. Put me on the spot. It's my show. Yes, I will. You always won every time you placed a bet.
Okay, I got it.
You're still damn good. No one's gotten to you yet. Every time they were sure to have you fall. You were quicker than that draw. You just turned your back and watched, but you're still the same. I caught up with you yesterday, moving game to game. No one's standing in your way, turning on the charm long enough to get you by. Still the same. You're still the same. That's it. That's all I got. That's all I got for you. Bob Seger, Still the Same. You didn't play it when I went at the United.
You're giving Al's daughter a run for money with those pipes you got.
Al's daughter.
American Idol in my future. My former co-host of Shy Fans in the Stands, Joey Mandel, he once tried out for American Idol, so maybe he could show me
Really?
the ropes and I could try it. I was going to bring Joe on tonight, but I knew we were going to have a jam-packed show because he's our fantasy football expert. He does the fantasy football goon, and he's in our league, the last second
Maybe we'll
league.
get into some playoffs next
And
week.
yeah, we're all in the playoffs currently. I'm in a fight. Jake's on a bye. Johnny's in a fight. So we're hoping we can make it to next week. My defense got me a touchdown on Thursday night, but I wasn't smart enough and forward thinking enough to play Cam Akers, who went off, and I played Robert Woods. So not out of it, but I'm not officially clinched anything. It's early in the week, so we shall see. But that is correct. Bear Truth 9. That's 30 years of singing in the shower. Bob Seger and CCR are my go-to shower songs. So feel bad for my wife and pray for her. But you're welcome to hit the funky music, Jacoby. I'm going to go back to my shout-outs. And once again, thank you, Charles Leno, left tackle of the Chicago Bears. Good luck to you Sunday against the Houston Texans. And I also want to thank everyone in the chat for hanging out all night long. Of course, Chubbs82, regular guest, always coming in our chats. We appreciate your time and your stability, Chubbs, and Bear Truth 9, my representation. Kyle Lilly hanging out with us. And, of course, everybody, all the names and all the greats. And Virginia, Weird Al, thank you for contributing your Waddle and Sylvie parody song here. Best of luck to you. If I had to pick, you're my pick. So I'll send that to Abdal to make sure he knows.
Good luck, sir.
And, thank you to Danny
Excellent
Rocket for your contribution with your great holiday spirit. We always appreciate that. Follow the Sun Ranto show. And then thank you, Nathan, for your Trump video. It's greatly appreciated. That wraps things up for this Friday night special. A very special Brags in the Stands special. Bears edition all day long. Can't wait to get back in the stands, but we're always going to bring you fun coverage on Friday nights. Johnny B is going to make you the money, and we're going to always talk football and bring you some fun guests on. So we'll catch you next Friday night. We'll be on Sunday for, of course, our post-game coverage and everything else.
Post-game shows.
But we will see you next week, maybe a little earlier than Friday. I got some dentist work to be done Friday, so check us out maybe on a Thursday night of next week with some special guests and, of course, Johnny B back to make you some more money, so make sure you follow his picks along. So that's done for my rambling. We appreciate all your time. Thank you very much, Bear Truth 9. Thank you to Chubbs. Thank you to Kyle Lilly. That'll do it. Brags in the Stands. I've talked to them.